So that's brunoise and julienne, and then lastly we have the onion, which I'll show you how to chop an onion, and I'll show you how to émincer an onion, which is to thinly slice an onion in French. So the onion has two ends, right? The stem end and the root end. And so we cut off the stem end, again, round thing, we have to make it flat. So we cut off the stem end. And then we trim off the root end. We don't cut it off completely, you just want to trim away, think of just trimming off the dirty part. Because the root end is what keeps all the layers of the onion together. Right, so we don't want to cut that completely out because we want all the layers to still be held together. So nice flat surface. And now we cut the onion in half from North Pole to South Pole. Think of it like North Pole, South Pole, and then the equator. So from North Pole to South Pole, we cut the onion in half and peel it. And make sure you get both the peel that looks like peel and then the peel that is just really, that doesn't digest well. You can't chew through. It's deceiving because it looks like onion, but it's not. So then you have the onion flat on your board, and we're going to want to chop it. Let's say we want to chop it into like 1/4 inch dice. So we have it towards the edge of the board. The reason we have it here is because we're going to want to make horizontal cuts in the onion that are even and straight, right? Now if we had it here on our board, our knuckle would be in the way, and you could see that we'd have it at an angle. So we pull it to the end of the board, and then we hold the onion flat with the palm of your hand. You don't want to hold it with your claw this time because you can really slip and cut your fingers. So with the palm of your hand, you hold the onion steady, and then you're using the entire blade of the knife. So you start with the back of the knife, and you kind of drag the knife towards you. And if you need to saw it a little bit like this, that's fine. And so then you make another cut. Now let's say we're doing 1/2 inch, so you make another cut that's a 1/2 inch or thereabouts, away from the other cut. Next, 1/2 inch above the other cut. Next, 1/2 inch above the other cut. Then we want to do cuts that are perpendicular to this first cut. So again, starting with the back of our knife, we drag the blade towards us. The tip clears that root, and then we make sure we cut all the way through by pushing down on the knife. Okay, and if you get a little straggler, that's fine, you just push that aside. So again, the tip clears the root, and you push down on the knife. Starting at the back, you don't have to use as much pressure as if you were starting here and trying to saw through the onion, right? The entire blade of the knife is working for you. So you would do these the same distance apart as you did the horizontal cuts. The knife, just like we normally do, cutting away from you, entire blade again. Again, the same distance apart. So if you were doing 1/2 inch, you would do 1/2 inch cuts. If you were doing 1/4 inch, you would do 1/4 inch cuts until you come to the end of the onion. And this you can, save if you make your own stock. So now you have onion, diced onion that is all the same size. And we can just, with the stragglers, you can just go ahead and chop those up. What we do with the émincé is now, in this case, we don't want the core to hold all of the layers of the onion together. We want all of the layers to fall apart, basically, right? So what we do is in an angle, maybe a 45-degree angle, thank you, we cut out that little core. And we just remove it, and you want to make sure that you do cut it all the way off, So we would throw that in our stock bowl. Then we take the onion and we cut across the equator, okay? So we cut the onion in half across the equator. Then we take the onion, and it's facing us, North Pole, South Pole. And now what we're going to do is we're going to notch the edge of the onion. Notch means take your knife and make a few slits that cut through maybe the first layer or two of the onion. And I'll show you why we do this. And then you're going to start to slice your onion. Now you see how that first cut made nice slices, right? Because we cut through the first layer. If we don't cut through that first layer, we get a wedge. So we cut, that's why you do the little notch thing. So you notch it and then you slice it. However thick you want. using, again, the entire blade of the knife. Now you stop when you're about halfway through, because you're going to come down here and you're not going to have notched it, and then it's hard to hold things when it's so little. So I like to hold a larger edge. So then I turn it around and I do the same thing. I notch and then I slice. And there you have nice slices of onion. Everything in your soup or in your dish, I think, should fit on the spoon. You know, everything should fit on a spoon so that it's not like dribbling down. And so that's why this émincé is a nice cut of onion. Okay, so garlic clove. And we pretend we have a nice clean cutting board. So what we do with our garlic clove is we smash it with the back of our knife, and then that makes it really easy to peel. Wrong bowl. And then cut off the stem. And I usually open up the garlic and I see if there's anything green inside, like a sprout. Oftentimes there's sprouts, especially if the garlic's older. So I look inside, and if there's a little sprout, I'll take that out and throw that away, because those sprouts can be kind of bitter. But there aren't here, so now I'll just take the garlic and cut it into small pieces. Start like this. And then maybe you take your knife and you do the chopping action, right? And this is how you would cut like hardy herbs like parsley or rosemary. You'd cut them into small pieces like that, and then you'd use this motion of chopping with your knife. And you get the garlic nice and finely chopped. But that is not minced. Finely chopped is not minced. This is finely chopped garlic, which is still kind of chunky and fine to use when you're cooking. Like, this would be a perfectly fine thing to do, to use in a soup, because you're going to cook it and it's going to mellow and soften as it cooks, as it sautés, right? Let's say you want to put some fresh garlic into like a goat cheese. Like, you want to make an herbed goat cheese with garlic to maybe put on toast or to float into a soup, and you don't want big chunks of garlic, because some people love that, but you know, most people, you'd rather have the hint of garlic rather than like the hello, I'm there in whole clove form. So what we want to do is then we want to mince the garlic. So really, like, if you're putting in whole cloves for infusion into a soup or something that's going to cook, that's great. If you want to have whole cloves in there, by the time the soup is done, it'll be nice and soft, right? If you want to put chopped in there, you put it in sort of at the end of the process, because that only takes maybe 30 seconds to a minute to be fragrant and to soften up, right? And then if you want to do minced garlic, that would be used for a fresh application where you're actually not cooking it necessarily, or maybe you're stirring it into a soup at the very end where there's just a little bit of heat, but you're not really cooking it. Okay? Now, to mince the garlic, what we do is we bring it to the edge of our board and put a little salt on it to give us some traction, and then you're going to take your knife, and it's going to be, you're going to hold the handle like this pretty firmly, and your other hand is going to put a lot of pressure down on this blade, because basically what you're going to want to do is smash the garlic into the board. Okay, so you're taking it and you're smashing the garlic into the board. Can you see that over there? Okay. Like this. It's like a throttle on a motorcycle. Brum, brum, you know? And you smash it into the board like this. And you have more of a paste right there than you do a chop. See? And that's really nice for, you know, to add that really fresh flavor of garlic. Like, I like to use garlic like this when I am putting garlic into a vinaigrette, you know, where it really gives you that beautiful flavor of garlic without all of the intensity of it. Okay, so that's how we mince garlic.